Welcome everybody. This is our video today for the balance of the feminine and the masculine. Melissa and I were going to do a live on Facebook, but it wasn't working out for us, but we are committed to get this information to you all. So we have come to Zoom to record this video for you all. I hope that this information finds you well. And if you have any questions of anything that we speak through this video, please feel free to leave the questions in the comments, connect with us so we can continue to bring awareness to these subjects and we can all learn together. Melissa has her page of Sacred Self, and she has been sharing with us lots of wisdom, and I am really excited to have her here speaking with us tonight. We're going to begin with talking a little bit about the astrology and the planetary alignments for tonight. Today is November 18th, 2020, and right now it's 8:50 p.m. and we're going to speak about the planetary alignment so we can get a little bit of information of the energies that we're working with for us and for the collective. And we're also going to be speaking about the masculine and the feminine energies within all of us, the power of the heart and the higher chakras, and we will be sharing a few meditations through this video. So Melissa, why don't you go ahead and share with us?
Okay. First, I want to say someone just messaged me and said, sorry about all the feedback in your live. How much moon water did you drink today? That is a very good question because I collected on the full moon of October 31st, which you know is a full blue harvest moon. I think I collected maybe 10 gallons of that water, and we've already gone through 5, and we just had the new moon, so I'm only like in the halfway point. But yes, my daughter was guzzling it today. I was guzzling it. My whole household seems to be just erupting in energy all day long, which actually kind of feeds into what I wanted to talk about, what's happening in the collective because of our planetary influences that are happening right now. So Mars is actually causing us to kind of do a dark night of the soul. So it's bringing forth some things that maybe you're not really proud of, or you tried to hide, or like we were talking about earlier, maybe someone told you when you were growing up, you know, little girls don't do that. Little girls don't act that way. Little girls don't say those things. They don't do these things. Or even little boys. Little boys don't act this way. Little boys don't do that. I had a very interesting conversation the other night with a sacred sister who admitted that her parents always told her, no, you shouldn't behave that way. You shouldn't say those things, or you shouldn't do those things. And she's like, but what I'm learning by learning more about Kali, the goddess Kali, is that some of these things that you think are your dark shadow self and that you were taught to feel shame about or hide, they're really not that bad. It's okay. You can have these types of things happening. So when we're sitting in the dark night of the soul and we're being forced to look at these things, it doesn't always mean it's dark. It doesn't always mean that it's wrong. But if it is dark and it is wrong, one of the competing forces that we have against us right now is we're also feeling an urgent need to hurry. So we're all feeling very pulled to get this done. Go, go, go. Speed, speed, speed. This can have a lot to do with, a need to like wrap up projects that you had pending, or taking care of or launching new projects, but you want to see them come to fruition very quickly. So it's move, 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 fast, fast, fast. That's okay, but that can leave you feeling very, very drained. And when you're actually looking at going inward and spending this time inward, analyzing how you approach things, how you carry yourself, why you make the decisions you make, are they trigger responses? Are you hiding your true self? Are you hiding things about yourself that are wrong or others may view as wrong, but you're okay with? Those are the type of things that you really can't speed through. You have to sit in it, you have to feel it, and you have to decide, is this a keep or is this a release? And really that part of the healing process, that part of your growth, you can't speed through it. Mm-hmm. And, balancing the fact that you feel like you have to hurry, 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 and the energy that we're expending in other areas, like launching new projects, tying up loose ends, you know, getting to work, you know, they call it the nose to the grindstone kind of thing. If you force yourself to actually back up for a minute and slow down when it comes to your shadow work, that can be extremely draining. So you've got two opposing forces happening at one time. You've got the need to want to speed, and then you've got the need to want to flee, because who wants to look at their shadow side, right? That's where it's deep, it's dark, you're unsure, you've got so many outside influences, so many voices. We had mentioned earlier about the goddess Kali. And one of the beautiful things about her is she's often viewed as dark and scary. She literally walks with a head in her hands. But I think she's very, very misunderstood. And the parts of her that we all need to embrace is that she is the goddess that believes that sometimes you have to have complete destruction in order to have creation. So burn the village down, but then rebuild the village the right way. You know, burn the matrix down, but then rebuild the matrix the right way. Let's pull that old ugly stuff out by the root. You don't just cut it off, you root it out. You got to dig deep and completely pull it out by the root in order to plant something new and to watch it spring forth. So with all this, you may be feeling like you're going 100 miles per hour 1 minute, and then you hit a brick wall and you're just sitting still. My only advice to you in the collective that I keep saying to myself over and over again, this is where your self-care comes in. It's very, very important. It's very important to ground. It's very important to rest. There's another saying that has recently become my mantra, and it's in rest, she creates. What's interesting about that is we live in a society where if you're not moving and you're not doing, then you're wasting time, right? How can you possibly be productive by taking a nap? How can you possibly be productive by laying down or sitting somewhere for just a minute? Well, actually, that's when we become in the most alignment, because we've settled ourselves. We're sitting in that true present moment, tapping into source, and that's where all of our information comes from. So in rest, she truly does create. So if you need to go to bed at 7 o'clock at night, go to bed at 7 o'clock. If you need to nap in the middle of the day, if you need sacred baths, if you need herbs brewing, if you need a massage, if you need to take a walk, if you want to go watch the birds, if you want to feel your feet touch the earth, do these things for yourself, because you're going to need it. And we're probably not going to see any relief from this. I believe the date I remember is December 12th, so 12/12. We may see a little bit of relief from this, but trust me, 2020 is going out with a bang. So the bottom line is, whatever freedom you feel on 12/12, I'm sure it's going to hit us with something brand new on 12/13. So we might as well just sit in that and just take every day, day by day. I actually created an herbal blend today that I posted on Sacred Self Apothecary, completely driven by spirit. I just tapped in and said, what do I need? What do I need? Because I just felt like today was kind of getting away from me. I was bouncing off the walls. My kids were bouncing off the walls. I have this huge project looming over me. I'm trying to create 11 different kits of 52 sacred baths. So you're talking about what, 576 baths that I have to create for 11 different kits. And my counters right now are completely lined up with little Apothecary bottles, 15 milliliter bottles. I've got oils staring me in the face, and my husband just kind of looking like, am I ever getting my kitchen back? And the answer is no. Thank goodness we have 2 of them. So I'm like, go to the other kitchen, you'll be okay. This is my kitchen. But anyway, so, you know, I felt like I got to push, I got to go, I got to get this done. Interesting enough, just like us having these difficulties with the live, if you don't choose to slow down and stop for a minute, there are going to be outside forces that cause you to anyway. So I'm grooving along with my baths today, and everything was going wonderful, and I'm just measuring things. The only thing I'm missing literally is a white lab coat, which he thought I was crazy, because I was like, can you get me one of those for Christmas? But I mean, I really do just feel like a scientist in there, like just putting things together. But we've got our first we got our first line of 11 baths together, and I got the labels on them, put the stoppers on top of them, the little glass droppers. I was so excited. And something told me, you need to test your box, because we're placing these in a big wooden box with a hinged lid on it. So he goes and puts them in the box, and we discover you can't close the box with a dropper lid on it. So that halted everything, because I have to be able to ship these things. So I had to jump online real quick, order some screw caps to go on top of them instead, so that they would actually fit. But again, that was an external force telling me this should be a slow, enjoyable process. And I do enjoy it, but today I felt very rushed. And so it told me, stop, take your time. So now these will not be completed till Friday, but I received a blessing in it when I called the company and said, okay, I made a huge mistake. I have your droppers. I need your caps. I need them ASAP. Can I get 2-day shipping? And they're like, yes, but we stopped shipping at 2:00. And this was at 2:05. And I'm like, please, you have to help me. I can't leave. I mean, I can't sit here with 600 glass bottles on my counter for a week. It's just, I'm going to Miami this weekend. It's just not going to happen. And the guy's like, okay, you know what? Place your order. Call me back. I'll get it shipped out today. And he did. I called him back. Yes, exactly. Within 10 minutes. And then I got the email that the order was shipped. So it's about balance. All of this is coming down to balance. So rush, rush. Okay. But rest, rest.
Yeah.
And find your groove there.
And that's so
exactly.
Also that with what you're saying, that's the inspiration that we got to speak about the balance of the masculine and the feminine, because the masculine wants to go, it wants to do it, wants to work, it wants to make it happen, but then the feminine energy comes in and gently puts a stop or a pause on that masculine, so you can be in balance, as you're saying. So it's all like an outer but inner work at the same time.
Exactly. And I mean, where's the proof? It takes us 9 months to create. And you want to talk about learning patience, right? 9 months, and all the different phases and stages you go through, and the feelings. And you know, I'll be honest with you, I've probably only met like 2 women in my life that ever admitted that they absolutely positively loved being pregnant, every single stage of it, and they wanted to like hold the baby in. They didn't even want the baby to come out. Two. That's it. The rest of the women are like, I'm so ready for this baby to get here.
Oh my God. And after the 7th month, when you're like carrying around so much weight and so much tension, and then the last month when you're feeling the pressure, and like, I love being pregnant, but I was ready to get him out.
Exactly. So if we know anything about the creation process and the patience that we have to take, and the rest that we have to stop for, and sometimes how we have to just adapt to maneuver, and even our bodies are doing it. Like literally, it's letting the baby push some vital organs to the side so that he or she can have space to stretch and feel in it. So about that balance, when I created the Goddess Kali herbal blend that I did today, I really had no idea what I was going to put in this blend. What I do is I go into my office and I have all my shelves, and I call it my little apothecary, and I have all my herbs out in glass jars, and I just kind of see what I reach for. And when I started reaching, I reached first for neem, because I am suddenly very obsessed with the neem leaves, and neem leaves actually invoke the spirit of Kali, which probably explains why I'm obsessed with it. Yes.
Love it.
So I used my full moon water from October 31st, and I added the neem in, and I thought, okay, what does Kali need, since I'm going to do the base as neem? And she felt like some sunflower petals. So I added a few sunflower petals, and then I was like, well, you know what? I want everything to be crystal clear. So I added some sage to it. And I also wanted, you know, she's known for being deep and dark. So I added some hibiscus, because hibiscus, if you've ever seen it brew, first of all, when you look at hibiscus, it's like blood, black, red. It's so deep in color. And when you brew it, your whole pot turns into a red that almost just looks like it looks like blood. It's really, really deep and dark. So I was like, she needs a little deep color in there. And then I felt like we needed to balance that with a little masculine. So I did an astragalus root. And what I found when I actually started, and astragalus root, which also we used in Chris's steam blends that we sent over to you, because it's very hardy. It's a very hard root. So it's about virility and vitality and just like standing up hard, you know, all these masculine traits, right? So I topped it off with that. And the interesting thing was, I kind of got the whole Kali feeling, but I didn't think to name it Goddess Kali until I started to smell it. And when it started to brew, and I couldn't pull my face away from it. It smelled so good. So here's what I documented on Sacred Self about it. It smells like what I imagine a freshly showered lumberjack would smell like. Okay. But a lumberjack that was energetically clean enough to not actually destroy and cut down trees. So again, balance. So the visual that it made me feel was just this large, strapping man with an edge of kindness and compassion about him. And I really think the lumberjack part came from that astragalus root. Because of the woodsy, hardy, hard part of it. And then the rest of it, where the balance came in, was from the Kali and the sunflower and the sage. So it was a very interesting blend. And so I named that blend Goddess Kali, and it's still brewing on my stove as we speak. It was a fantastic fitting blend for the day.
Wonderful. That sounds so good. I definitely want to try that.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
It is so interesting that like we feel those energies within ourselves, and then we look at like the planetary alignments and what the planets are telling us, and it's exactly the conversation between Mars and Venus and the masculine and the feminine, and trying to figure out where is the right balance. Like if you're working too much, when are you going to sleep? I totally feel that. I went to sleep last night at 7:30 after I put Christopher to sleep, and then I woke up and Chris took over, and I still slept like other 2 hours, even though I took care of the baby at night. It was like this need of just full rest, because when I'm awake, I'm on the go all the time. So if I do that and I don't rest, then I'm drained, and then I'm not even giving 100% of myself. And then the frustration and irritation comes up. That is really important to understand that, and for the collective to understand that. We cannot be always on the go, and we can also not be always stagnant. Oh, it will happen when it will happen. I'm just going to stay here and flow with life. That's another part of the imbalance thing. You're like, oh, I'm just going to go with the flow. Well, you need some more active participation for some of us, and then a little bit of less participation and more rest for others. So we can find that inner balance, and then we can balance ourselves in our relationships, because our partners and our families are not going to feel good when we experience those energies like that. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you are completely correct.
Yes, it's really important, because I really feel like Kali, as you were saying, is so misunderstood. And there's part of the story of in the Bhagavad Gita that talks about Kali and how she came to be. The goddess Kali is just a part of the full spectrum of a goddess, you know, and that goddess is within all of us. It says the goddess Kali became that way because her children were going to be killed by these demons, and she had to stand up and showed up to what she needed to show up to. She wasn't going to show up like the sweet Saraswati goddess, with the goddess of art. No, she needed to show up with all of her strength, with all of her rage, to break everything and destroy everything apart, so she could keep her family safe and she could build a beautiful in harmonious space. And then that part of herself could calm down and relax. So the misunderstanding of her, it also happens with all of us women too. Things that when we're like speaking up for ourselves or like showing ourselves in that manner, we're being incorrect or we're not being a good girl, but we're just simply showing up to the table and saying, I don't like this, and I'm going to shift it. And if the masculine is aware enough and understands the sacredness of the feminine, he will accept that and will harmoniously work with it. If not, it will get repelled, and hopefully it gets repelled. So definitely there's been a lot of energies on the earth talking about, hey, where are we standing and how much love and attention we're giving to both sides of ourselves, the masculine and the feminine, that is within all of our chakras. That's also another part that inspired me to speak about it. As we were talking on our other live, if you didn't catch us, the live is on the sacred self for last week. On the lower chakras, and now we're talking about the heart chakra and the higher chakras. And in all of the chakras, there's masculine and feminine aspects to that chakra, that you cannot do energy healing in one without affecting the other. And most of the time, when we are looking at certain blockages and issues in a side of our chakra, is going to start pulling stuff from other chakras. What do I refer to? For example, myself, I used to be very masculine, overly masculine, where I would like be really bossy and speak up too much and sometimes be way too aggressive. As soon as I brought awareness to my aggressiveness on my speech, I started to see my feminine side that had never been looked at, on actually how gentle I could be, still getting my point across, which will actually make the masculine so much more receptive. I wonder why men will get so triggered, but it was because I was putting too much masculine energy that will make their masculine be like, whoa, this girl talking to me like that, you know? But then with gentleness and ease and love and femininity, I can now get my point across without hurting anybody's feelings. And then it gave me so much more ease. I didn't understand how much it was affecting me to be overly masculine when I was embodying a feminine in this three-dimensional state, or in this body. But I needed to give love to both sides. And then as soon as I toned down the masculine, I started to see all these things of my feminine. Oh, she's actually very gentle. Oh, I actually like to dance. Oh, I actually want to be really creative now that my masculine is tamed down and balanced, because I'm not protecting myself. Which is another thing that a lot of us women in the coming to the circles, the women's circles, are looking for. More femininity, because they're tired of overguarding themselves. And I see a lot of masculines trying to awaken to the understanding that they don't need to be over controlling. They don't need to be going around and pushing onto the feminine for them to be receptive. Now they got to connect to their femininity within themselves as well, which we have lived in a very, very masculine world for who knows how many thousands of years. We are crossing this space in the universe, like the earth that is always moving, is crossing the space in the universe, that the information that we're getting into our beings is more feminine. And we've known the rising of the feminine, and power on the feminine. It happens within the men and the women. Lots of men's circles happening now. Lots of conscious men awakening to their feelings. You guys have to feel in order to be connected to your heart. Men have been programmed with, oh, you're a man, you're not supposed to cry. Oh, you're a man, you're not supposed to act that way, which is the same shame that women received about their emotions. Oh, don't cry so much, don't be so emotional. Well, we're breaking through that now. And with the shadow work that you're speaking about, we're looking at it and it's really in our face. It's like, oh my God, we've been experiencing these lives, all of us, like this, and it doesn't work. And what are we passing on to our children and the future generations? More trauma, more confusion, and more wounds in all of our pain body. Well, it's time for us to bring awareness, to understand, hey, we can make a difference, and we can pass on better genes, and we can pass on a masculine, feminine, and masculine to our kids, either boy or a girl, they can understand that they can connect to both parts of themselves, that a boy can cry, that a girl can climb a tree and jump out of it and play soccer or whatever she wants to do. Doesn't mean that she stopped being a girl. She's just expressing her masculine in that way. And then she can go play dolls if she wants to. So really, really, this is how we birth the new earth, the new understanding, the new consciousness coming into our beings. We can resist it, and then we will have a lot of problems with our environment and feel like we don't fit in, and feel like everything is triggering us, feels like the shadow work is too hard. My dark night of the soul will last forever. If you don't want to look at the shadows will stay there. But instead, we get up and we touch the jaguar, we touch that scares us, we face that demon, that whatever you want to call it, the dark energy that has been feeding off of that imbalance within yourself, either in masculine and feminine. It can come from trauma from your parents or your dad and your mother, and that's some energy that is being really, really awakened for me, the ancestral trauma that we're all carrying, and how are we going to heal that? And we can't run away from it anymore. There's no time. And Kali's coming in like, I will destroy everything, and who's with me? And if you're not with me, you might get destroyed too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting since you brought up ancestors. I've been doing a lot of ancestral work, and in one of our retreats recently, it was pointed out to me. I mean, I've met a lot of my ancestors, and I've been able to do it through the work that we do, and through the work that I'm doing specifically with my ancestors. But one of the things that I noticed was there was a message that I received. So not only are we passing on, like you said, the pain, the trauma, and the things that they've been through, it's imprinted in us. We carry it from one generation to another. It's deep rooted in our DNA. This was shown to me two different sides, probably again, masculine and feminine. One side said to me, you also don't know what your ancestors have agreed to. So there are spiritual pacts that were made. There were pacts that were made with other people. There were a lot of agreements that were made that we don't even realize existed. And I think we're starting to wake up to some of those, and we're starting to be given the option of, are you going to fill the pack, or are you going to do what you said you would do, or your ancestors did way back when, and you're going to make these things right, or are you basically just going to waste your life, lay down and die? And we're not going to waste our lives and lay down and die. So it's like, well, yeah, I'll go fulfill this. I'll go do what I was told to do. Now, the other side of that is, I was also told, we get a little obsessed or fixated as we're going through our healing process with the pain and the trauma and the abuse that this person endured and that person endured in my bloodline. And now I carry this in my heart. We can sometimes get so focused on that one of the messages that I received from my ancestors when I was tapping into them and learning from them is, we also need to think about the many blessings, traditions, and many of the small things that our ancestors did for us that we don't even, we may have experienced it because we were there, but did we remember it? Did it stand out to us? Especially if you think back to like things that happened when you were a child. And I may have shared this on our live, I can't remember. And I may totally be repeating myself, but it's something that I've just been, or maybe it was my own life. It's just something that I just can't tell enough people about. So for those that have heard this before, I apologize, but I just want you to understand the significance of it. One of the visions that I received was actually me sitting between my grandmother's legs, and she was sitting on one step outside on the front porch, and I was on the second step. And the message was, do you remember how she would speak to you when she would brush your hair? And I was like, yeah, I remember. And this is when I would sit between her legs and she would brush my hair. That's when she would tell me about life. She would explain to me that, one day you're going to grow up. You're going to get a little older, and it'll be soon. And when you do, your body's going to change. And this is how your body's going to change. And this is what's going to occur. She walked me through the menses, the menstrual cycle, and, and how it's important to clean oneself and protect oneself and so on, and this is where a girl becomes a woman. But then I also recall now when she would actually braid my hair, and my grandmother spoke in tongues. So you never really knew everything that she was going to say, and you never could always understand what she was saying, but she spoke in tongues. But she would actually pray over my head, and she would actually, when she was braiding my hair, she would whisper blessings and sometimes speak in tongues as she wove my hair in to that braid. And now I understand what a blessing that was, and how she actually took the time to think of that and actually wanted me to remember that forever. So now every morning when I braid or comb my daughter's hair or place it in ponytails or pigtails or whatever, I actually speak life into them. I speak life into her crown, which goes along with the chakras we're going to be talking about tonight. I speak blessings over her head. I cloak her in protection and divine guidance. And even the other morning when my son said, "Hey mom, I want some toast," and we had some homemade strawberry jam, it's called strawberry freezer jam, I actually thought, this is an opportunity. When I take this jam and I put it on this toast, I can actually speak a blessing into his food before I even give it to him. And so I took the time to do that. So it's all these, once we can manage in our healing process to kind of say, okay, well, the trauma stops with me. We're done. The pain stops with me. I'm done. For you, Christopher's not going to get it anymore. For me, Gabby, Dominic, Addie, none of them. We're done. We're done. It's not going to happen anymore. But you got to replace it with something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why we've got to go back to our ancestors and say, okay, now show me what you were trying to show me that I was too little to understand, or maybe I wasn't in your presence enough to understand. And these are the blessings they're going to give us now. They're going to give us the tradition, the ceremony, the sacredness, the knowledge, the wisdom. That's the stuff we need. Mm-hmm. So we can focus on that next.
Yes. And the prayers too. I have spoken with Chris about that, on like the way that his mom always prayed for him, and my grandma will always pray for me. She always prayed for me. And now I pray for my son, and I pray for Christopher all the time. And while I'm breastfeeding him, when I'm putting him to sleep, I'm calling in angels and light energy to surround him while he sleeps, and God's consciousness to come into the space and protect him while I'm not being able to physically watch him. And it is such a beautiful thing, because I really believe that it works. And I never knew that it was working. And I always thought why my grandma was so extra until I had him. And then I understood the love that we feel every time that little part of ourselves go and walk in the world. And if you don't feel that way about your children, then there's something that you need to be looking at, like, why am I not feeling this way, and how can I shift it? And maybe it does come from your ancestral patterns, and you just need your awareness to be like, okay, I'm cutting this off, and now I'm building something new there, and I'm connecting to that energy of love and understanding and knowledge on how to pass on this healing and this protection. Because now we're in the era where this is not woo-woo. And if you're watching this and you're thinking you're woo-woo, well, welcome. Welcome to this space. We're going to bring some awareness to you. We are magical beings. And everything that we speak, if it's good or bad, it's creating the response in the universe. We are creators. We are co-creating this experience with God, with the universe, with us all. So when we don't care about our children, and when we're not putting any energy towards them, there's more possibility that they can take different ways that are not maybe the ones that we want, or the ones that are best for them. But if we are putting that energy into the universe, asking for that protection, asking and calling in light beings, our ancestors with good intentions that are watching over us, those that we made the commitment to, of like, okay, I'm coming in and I'm going to be doing XYZ, but then we came in and we're like, forgot, and they're like, okay, it's time to do this work. When we are like, okay, we're doing this work, come in, show me, bring the knowledge, we are starting to get those downloads into our beings, and then we get upgrades. After we download that information, we upgrade into a better and more conscious self that speaks into the universe and creates goodness, love, and healing for all of our children. We, all of us, went through the experience of, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, like heroin and all of this sickness and this illness and this like drug addiction that we had on the earth. We're trying to heal that, and we're trying to speak better into our children and bring awareness to them into like what these things are and how they have affected us and how we change it. And children are ready. They're ready for that. They're ready for a balanced world. They're ready. They're coming in, little warriors, to continue to build this new earth, and we are ready to help them. So yes. I feel like that's the real big reason why we keep coming together to speak about these subjects, because we want to do it as fast as possible.
Exactly. So, I do want to say this, and this is kind of a perfect segue into the chakras. For me, and I really hope I've got it right, and I hope it's for many people, but for me, in order for us to ask our ancestors, to call those ancestors in, to learn and get the downloads and the knowledge of our DNA, reactivating things, to me, it all starts with gratitude. So anytime I begin anything, I start by first saying, thank you. Thank you, thank you, over and over again. I will literally chant, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And to me, your gratitude is in your heart. Mm-hmm. So, and what else rests in your heart? Love. So from love and gratitude is where all things spring forth. This connection to your ancestors, this knowledge of your ancestors, this creating the space for our little warriors to have the world that they want, for us sharing these messages to people, it all circles around gratitude and love. And I wanted to say that because we talk about it as if, maybe everybody is doing this, but if you're watching this and you're not doing this yet, one of the easiest practices you can have, and maybe this is the problem with the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the drug addictions, is people started taking things for granted. People started getting really, really fast and moving very, very quickly, and never stopped to say thank you. They never stopped to take the time to be in the present moment and to actually realize how beautiful and wonderful every little thing is, even if it's something that on the surface looks like it's chaos, or on the surface looks like it's, earth shattering or life shattering. There's still a beauty or a lesson or an opportunity in it. And all of that to me circles around gratitude and love and the heart chakra. So that's where you begin, and that's where it ends, in my opinion. It all just turns into itself, and it'll open up so many things for people.
Yes, that's super correct. And I am totally with you. Well, actually, our heart chakra, when it opens up fully, it's like a torus, like it goes up and down and up into our root chakra and through our higher chakras, and it makes like a infinite sign all around us. And the power of the heart is so intense. As we were speaking, we're speaking about in the women's circle, but our heart is our first brain. The heart is the first organ that it starts to develop. With our heart, we feel first, we think first, and then we connect to the world first. So lots of all the trauma and all the hatred and all the resentment and all the low vibrational energies and emotion cause for the heart to not emit that type of energy. And we have a lot of distractions now in the world. Facebook, you can tap out of your heart and your mind, no problem, just be on the scrolling. And this is how you can, and I know many people that live their lives like that. At the moment that they have a second to feel or think, they distract themselves because they're not trying to do the work. But if you're listening to this and you're trying to do the work, that will be the very first step, to tap into the heart space. How is my heart feeling? Is it heavy? Is it feeling anxious and overwhelmed? Is it overguarding itself? Is it feeling like it has to put walls up so the world doesn't attack it? Well, maybe your heart energy is being over masculine. Or do you feel like everyone walks all over you and you are overgiven and you're drained and you never now speak up about being drained? So now the upper heart, which is, this is the connection to the fifth chakra, which is the throat chakra. It is basically the fifth dimension. When we're here, we're opening our fourth dimension. And this one is really important because it connects us to our upper chakras and our lower chakras, which all of the connections are super important. But if there's no connection from the heart to either the uppers or the downer chakras, you can try to only work up here and be in la la land all the time and dreamy world all the time and psychedelic world all the time, or you can be on the lower chakras and like work, I make it happen, I show myself in the world, and then I don't feel. So like it's really important to get into the heart space, to feel how the heart is feeling, and then the heart will start pointing out at the different blockages on the rest of the chakras, because it basically is the center of it. So with unconditional love, that means that even if you feel that your husband or your wife or your sister is doing something wrong and you judge it with your mind, you will bring it down to your heart and accept that person and unconditionally give them love and accept them how they are, even if you don't agree on what they're doing. So that's a hard one and definitely one that takes a process and constant awareness and constant work. All of this work through the chakras that I share with all of you, it's not a magical tool. It's not like bing and you're all done. It's actually, the more you dig, the more you find. It might take you a long time to get out all of the junk that you have put on that chakra and that drawer. You're like, oh, I didn't know that this had affected me in that way. Now the connections and the relationships that we have with each other. The feminine is trying to connect to their heart again. The heart is the feminine of the heart and the brain. The brain is the masculine. The brain makes things happen. It puts them in squares. It's 1 + 1 is 2. The heart is like, how does that feel? Is really 1 + 1 is 2, or what is it, you know? So lots of the women on the earth are starting to work from their heart, and we're looking for real connections. We're tired of just having sex, one-night stands. We are starting to look at all the daddy issues that can show either you're sleeping around too much or then you're not connecting at all. Overactive or underactive heart chakra issues. And for that, there's actually lots of blends, lots of herbs, essential oils, yoga poses that we can use, and are simply just movement. Where does it feel in your body that there's tension? And if you feel tension, you need to lean into that uncomfortableness and move a little more, tap into that space, okay? Like kind of massage your energies, centers, so they can start to awaken and feel. At the beginning, it will be uncomfortable, and you might start having dreams of things that happen to you, or things that have never happened to you but are your biggest fears, because they're blockages that are stored in that space. So we will do a little meditation to tap into the heart with Melissa, and also a little sound healing to bring those waves of unconditional love. But one of the most beautiful mantras I have, or affirmations that I have heard, is for the heart chakra is I am given and receiving love effortlessly and unconditionally. And I used to write those affirmations all around my place so I could repeat them. And if you're working in your heart chakra, that's a really good way to start in there. Just tap into your heart and be, I am giving and receiving love effortlessly and unconditionally. See how that feels. What does that tell you? Is it your body resist? Does it tense up? Are you really receiving love unconditionally? Obviously, there is going to be external forces. If you're not accepted in your family, or your circle doesn't accept you, or you're not showing yourself in the world how you want to from your heart, you're in your mind maybe. Now, when we start opening the heart, then the throat chakra will start instantly or like naturally start to try to speak up the truth. And you might start feeling the energy coming up into your throat. And this is one of the chakras that for the collective has been really blocked. And I studied the gene codes as well. And the gene that is connected to our throat chakra is the one that has been getting triggered the most with these changes with Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn, which are the systems, how they have taught us how to speak, how to connect, how to express ourselves, what is right for a woman to connect. Oh, you get the most likes if you show your boobies or your booty in on whatever, Facebook or Instagram, but if you write something from your heart, you get 1 like. So so we're breaking through that, and how the men gotta show up all big muscles, like that's all they want to see. Well, that's not true, and we actually connect more to a masculine that is showing their heart, and we feel more there. So that's when we bring it up to the throat chakra. And for the throat chakra, lots of like neck movements and humming, the sound and the ether are connected to the throat chakra. Also, the color blue. So the heart chakra is green. I didn't say that. It's green, and the element is air. So breathing is going to start bringing a lot of energy into the heart chakra. Breathe into your heart. Stretch your heart out. See how it feels through your lungs, and breathe maybe with movement, and then bring it up and maybe visualize the colors awakening into that energy, connected into that space. And for the throat chakra, humming, simply making like om or simple sounds that will start giving vibration into the throat chakra, you'll start feeling it activate. So first we'll activate, and then it will show you, is it unbalanced in an overactive way? Do I speak too much without really feeling first what I'm going to say? Not thinking, feeling what I'm going to say. Or am I always quiet? And every time I feel like I need to say something, I get scared, and usually people get like their shoulders get really tense when they don't want to say something that they do want to say. So really important to straighten our spine, start working through those energies, moving up and down, and visualizing that energy moving all around us, maybe from our hearts, up and down. So after the throat chakra, we come up to the third eye, which the color is indigo. And these are more the higher chakras that connects us to our higher selves, to our winged friends, if you believe in angels, to the God consciousness that allows us to envision what our life will look like. And this is the chakra that is connected to manifestation, to being able to see our lives and manifest it in the way that we want. But a lot of people want to connect to that. Oh, I'm a manifester. I'm going to manifest, but I don't want to look at my trauma for my childhood or my womb issues or my solar plex or my heart. I just want to see and manifest. And then they're doing all these courses of manifestation and things are not working out very well. But it's because all of the chakras are interconnected. And if the lower chakras are not working correctly, the energy, the chi flow, the Shakti energy cannot move upwards. So this chakra the color is indigo, and the affirmation for this chakra that I like is, I am connected to my higher self, and I am connected to the divine. The divine that moves us and connects us to our intuition. So the pineal gland and the heart also have their own little connection in the meridians, where the heart will tell the intuition and we're able to see it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Being able to connect to that chakra will really allow us to see the world differently. And a lot of imbalances on that chakra will show us headaches, just pain and tension on the third eye. A lot of sinuses issues will connect to a third eye chakra blockage. And actually, rapé is one of the best medicines to work through the blockages on the chakras, on the higher chakras. Well, and all the chakras, to be honest. But now we go to the crown chakra, and the crown chakra can be purple or white color. I connect more with the white color because now it gives me like a full spectrum of the colors. The white basically has all of the colors in it for me. And this is the chakra that connects us to the God consciousness. The crown chakra and the root chakra only have one way to go. The root chakra goes downwards and the crown chakra goes upwards. The rest of the chakras have an entrance at the front and in the back. The same for the throat chakra. Sharing with Melissa that you can find the back of your throat chakra by bending your neck backwards, and where you find the little bend, that's where the outside, the back part of your throat chakra goes. It doesn't go straight, it goes actually upwards, because these energies are our upper triangle of our Merkaba, which is our light body. As we connect all the meridians in our body, physical body, then the connections into our Merkaba start to happen. This is what a Merkaba looks like for those who don't know. And this is our heart chakra, basically. And then all of our energetic system start to make little connections that allows us to astral travel, do all of those magical things that we want to do, and how we are able to express ourselves as spirits, as light beings in this body. But that doesn't happen unless we make all of the connections. They cannot be like half connected, or the switch is not gonna work, basically. So that is for our upper chakras. A little bit of a review. Of course, we can go deep on the subjects for each chakra. But the most important thing to understand is that the work that we do through those chakras are going to affect other chakras. So we're not only doing one work in one chakra. So when we open our hearts, we're going to start seeing maybe old wounds from our lower chakras come up, ancestral patterns. But the more we dig in and just sit with that, face it, don't run away from it, don't push it away again, because it will stay within ourselves. That's why the work that we do is so important when we go into the retreats and we actually purge that out. So really important to find your way to purge. Does it feel like you need to cry? Find a space to cry. One of the biggest things of the throat chakra, sometimes all you need is a pillow, and to scream into the pillow so you can get something moving in the throat that has been stagnant there. You don't have to scream at another person. You don't have to necessarily express that out to another being, but instead releasing it in a safe way. I'm all about that. Find a way to release it where you're not hurting more and causing more damage on another person. So when I'm feeling like a blockage needs to be looked at, I take a space from my husband, so he doesn't have to process the energies for me, because it's my work to do. Sometimes he helps, but I try to keep it on myself. So yeah, I think that it's really important for us to connect to our hearts and to our higher chakras so we can receive the messages from God, and then bring them down into the earth, start to manifest it here in the earth, how we envision this earth to be in a balanced way. How do we want to have relationship with each other? Do we want to be connected? And this also comes to the work that we do. You're from here and I'm from Colombia, and we're able to sit here and connect from the heart space because we're both connected from the heart, and we know what we want for each other and for our community and for the earth. So we're on the same page here, working from the heart. If I was in my mind into like, oh, what this is gonna do, or like, do I really know, is this worth it for us to go from live to Zoom? Are we gonna give up? Not gonna give up. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you. This, you may have knowledge that's rooted in this, or you can just share your opinion, but it's an experience that I had when I was working on my chakras, which is actually one of the major ways that my spiritual journey began, was really researching and understanding the chakras. Well, one day I stumbled across a test. And so I took this test online, and there were 3 possible results for each chakra. So one was that it was blocked. The second was that it was open and active. And then the third one was that it was overactive.
Mm-hmm.
So open too much. And I actually was a little stunned by my results. Now, maybe I shouldn't have been, because okay, so basically all of my chakras except for 2, which I believe was my, or no, 3, it was my third eye, my crown, and my heart chakra. So all the other chakras ranked as open, but those 3 ranked as over open, so, or too exposed, which I thought was really interesting. The thing that bothered me about it, now I had been doing a lot of activation, so I've been doing a lot of sound frequencies, and I was really working on these. So I understand if at the time they were a little bit overactive, but the part I disagreed with was they actually treated it as if it was a bad thing. Now, I know balance is supposed to be what we're going for, but I also believe that sometimes, as long as all of them are open, we may have some that are more active than others, or some that are more on alert than others. What do you think about that?
That's a really interesting subject that you bring up there, because we would think that we would want as much as we could get from that chakra, more from the heart chakra. It's like, I want to give everything, and I want to love unconditionally, and I just want to help everybody. But that actually, it's not the way that is sustainable for our energies. So once one chakra is overly open, it's going to cause for another chakra to just not work quite as much, because the other chakra is doing so much. So your energy itself is going to try to balance that. So maybe your solar plexus, or maybe your roots start to be like a little bit less, so the heart can just like give, but then you're ungrounded, you're anxious. After you give, you feel really, really tired. You go and do all of this community work, and you help so many people, but then at the end, you're not receiving, because your heart chakra is overly active. With the third eye, this is really important to understand for people that work with sacred plant medicines, or that are really into the psychic abilities and stuff like that. When you have an overactive third eye chakra, you may feel like everything's a message. Everything is telling you just something very important, or you're overly looking for messages, where sometimes life just happens. Simply is happening to show you something, but it doesn't need to be looked at with a lot of determination or a lot of focus. Maybe sometimes we just have to allow it to be the message that comes in and comes out, and we receive it without overly using the energy center that could be processing other information. So when it's balanced, it receives the message, and it's okay with the message, and it moves forward. But a lot of psychic readers start to feel like they're being attacked, or they're being like watched all the time, but their energy is so open that it might be that other beings are trying to say stuff because you're so open and you're like, oh, I want to know it all. I want to receive all this knowledge. But little by little, a baby doesn't just eat meat right away. It takes some time, and you want to give it a balanced diet, and you want to like bring it up correctly. That's why it's also not good to abuse plant medicines or any psychedelic medicines or drugs that people may use, because that will really, really make this upper chakra so overactive that then the lower chakras are not really working correctly. So I thought before that it was a good thing, and I will be like, I will open all of my heart chakra. And I did that, and I got taken advantage of so much that I didn't even know how much it was affecting my marriage, my friendships, on like one person that was like sucking it up. Because mind you, when you have an overactive heart chakra, that means that you're overly empathetic. So all of those narcissistic people or narcissists are going to, they kind of smell you. They're like, ooh,
They do.
this person will give me all their love. Oh, this person will take care of me, and I can call her 55,000 times and she will pick up. And boundaries are hard to put in the heart. They're the hardest to put, more for us women. When you find those boundaries, when you set them up with love, with ease and grace, they feel so freaking good. They feel so good. For me to leave my phone in the living room, it's charging all night. If I sleep 12 hours, I am sorry, I am sleeping. And when I get up, I will be more than happy to take care of you, but not if my baby's crying, not if I have to do some self-care work on me, on whatever that looks like. Many times I would say, I'm gonna do yoga, but then I will get on my phone with my friend that really need help, and then I didn't do my yoga, and then I am carrying with all this tension and this uncomfortableness. Oh, but I was such a good friend. But that's not really how it works, because then you're not giving yourself self-love. You're loving other people before you. So that's being very overactive. And actually, oregano, it's such a strong smell, but it's one of the oils or the scents that help the most the overactive heart chakra, because it's the oil of disconnection. But it helps you to disconnect to those things that are draining you or taking your life force. Because when you're using your chi for everything, so when you're giving and you're a counselor, a person of a community that is always ahead of the people and trying to like give out, if you don't take the time to take care of you and disconnect from that is not in alignment to your highest good, because a lot of people will just put you in that place, in the mediator, come and be in the middle of my problem and be my trash can, and let me give you all of my trash and you go process it. And then you're not being able to process your own things. It's good to help, but not so much when you're not helping yourself, when you're actually causing issues on you. So boundaries are super important in your chakras, like in our heart, in our solar plexus. For example, if you're a person, a public figure, and you all the time are putting yourself out there and showing yourself in the world and doing all these other things, but your family is a mess. Your children don't see you. They don't have a relationship with you. They barely know you, and your baby cries when you pick them up because you don't have a connection with them. It doesn't matter how much you're showing yourself in the world. There's still blockages that are going to show up there if it's too overactive.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that insight. I appreciate that. That makes sense. Okay. I think this has been a beautiful conversation tonight. I say we jump into our 2 guided meditations, and then you are going to take us out with some sound bowls, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So before we begin our meditations, Teppa and I both want to thank you all for watching this on the replay. We thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate your support. We are here for you. If you ever have any questions, if you have any topics specifically that you would like for us to discuss, we are committed to doing this live. Don't know if it'll actually be alive, but we plan on doing these videos, and we really want them to be lives every other Wednesday. So we're going to bounce between her page, which is the Pachamama. Say the second word for me.
Munai.
Munai. So the Pachamama
Love.
Munai.
It means love. Munai means love in Kemsa language, which is the language from Taita Pedra. And Pachamama Munai means to love Mother Earth.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Pachamama Munai or Sacred Self Apothecary. So we're basically going to rotate on Wednesday nights. So we are here for you, and we are trying to just choose topics that we can discuss, that we both feel rooted in, that we both feel like we have information that we can share, but also what's going along with what's in the collective right now, and what people are questioning, what they're experiencing. She mentioned earlier the macabre. We could do an entire episode or an entire video on just the macabre. I am obsessed with sacred geometry. I love the macabre. I love Metatron. He is amazing. I can channel him, and he has such love for us little human beings, and so much patience for us. So you kind of struck a chord with me when you showed your tattoo, and I was like, oh, that's an idea. We can do a live on that, because there's just so much we can share, but that needs its own space because it's so huge. And the many things it can do, it's huge. So, okay. But again, we thank you all for joining. What we're going to do now is we're going to do 2 guided meditations. So if you want to find a place to sit or lie comfortably and close your eyes, we're going to start by taking a breath in, and with this breath in, you're going to say yes to your higher self. Breathe out and exhale. You're going to shift into a relaxed nervous system. Continuing with your eyes closed, we are going to imagine your root chakra, which is at the base of your spine. You're going to see it glowing a ruby red color. And imagine the roots going down all the way through the floor, deep into the center of the earth, radiating from the seat of your very being all the way to the center of the earth. This is your connection to the Divine Mother, which opens you up to safety and security. Breathe in her divine love. Breathe out any resistance. Breathe in her divine love. Breathe out, feeling the full connection. And now we're going to travel to your heart center, and you're going to let your heart breathe in and out. I want you to feel a green energy and allow love to pour into your heart. Breathe in love and breathe out compassion. Continue to breathe in love and out with compassion. Feel your heart chakra begin to open wide, and breathe 5 more breaths. Very good. And lastly, we're going to open your crown chakra on top of your head. We're going to visualize a gold light of divine wisdom enter you so that you can receive divine guidance. This prepares you For the bowls that Tefa will play, which can also provide downloads of information, we're going to breathe here for 5 more breaths.
And with that, I invite you to place one hand over your heart and thank yourself for receiving these waves of love, these healing sounds, this information. Take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. We are here to help you and we embrace you exactly how you are. From our hearts to yours, we love you. Thank you for being here. Please leave us comments if you would like to ask us any questions. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend. We are here always. Please connect with us. Namaste.